Assalamualaikum, Nabila.
This is I think, another subject, which is the new one for you and for me as well. That is called managing communication. We will be doing the subject according to the task and activity wise. So, activity one has LO1 and learning outcome 2. And in this lecture, we will be only focusing on the learning outcome 1 only. It says understand how information and knowledge is communicated within an organization. Now, the subject is called managing communication. So, it is way to show that we are going to discuss everything about communication within the corporate sector, within the organization. So, relatively, what it has in it. Communication of information and knowledge within an organization is a crucial aspect of its functioning. It involves the exchange of data, facts, insights, and expertise among individuals or departments. That is what is the purpose of communication in the department, in the organization is, and how we manage it. That is the main skill. Now, there are many examples through which we can depict it. For example, formal communication channels. Then we have informal communication channels, meetings and conferences, training and development programs, knowledge management systems, email communications, collaboration tools, leadership communication, performance reviews, communities of practice, feedback mechanism, and these are the all kinds of examples or points which basically explains the learning outcome one itself. Effective communication of information and knowledge within an organization involves a combination of formal and informal channels, digital platforms, and personal interactions because it is made through different components that we amalgamated to pursue with the channel of communication. The choice of communication methods depends on the nature of the information, the audience, and the organizational culture. For example, if the organizational culture is way too democratic, then what will happen? We are only going to pass an order in the organization from the board of director to the normal employees, to the lower level employees. The goal is to create a transparent and collaborative environment where the information flows seamlessly to support the organization objectives, and that is what the main purpose of an organization is. In context of communication, when we are working as a team, there is no hurdles and obstacles. Then definitely we can communicate easily, and everything is going to be surpassed from one body to another body easily. Moving directly to the learning outcome, one assessment criteria 1.1, it says analyze key information and knowledge requirements for a range of stakeholders within different organization. Now, the command verb says analyze, which is way too obvious for you till now that it means we have to talk about the positive, negative aspects, the importance of the particular topic, and telling the conclusion or the judgment in the end. Now we have to relate it through the information and knowledge relating it with the stakeholders. They have already told us that which stakeholders we are going to talk about in the particular assessment criteria. They are all in the indicative content. Here's an analysis of the information and knowledge needs of the various stakeholders. The first is the company performance, the stakeholders itself. Now they have the shareholders, board members, or the directors. Then we have senior managers, operatives as well. Shareholders, they're interested in the financial performance and the returns on the investments. The board member, they are need a comprehensive overview to make a strategic decision because they are the one who are actually running the organization by taking the strategic decisions with meeting or aligning with organizational goals. Senior managers require insights for operational planning and resource allocation because they are the ones which they have to make the deadlines and what the resources are in the organization and what resources they have to follow up. Operatives may need information on performance metrics affecting the job stability as well. For example, if we talk about the financial data, quarterly reports, profit and loss statements, the income statement which we make in the organization, just like statement of financial position, we can make them in then product knowledge. Again, if we talk about the stakeholders, what body do we have in it? We have product managers, production teams, and sales teams in it. Need in-depth understanding of the product development and marketing because if we know about the product mix in the market, in the production process in the organization, then we can easily market it as well. Then production team require details on the competence and manufacturing processes. That is what new equipment we do need or what new innovation we require in it. Need comprehensive product information for effective selling. That is what is the main criteria of a sales team as well. For example, competence, detailed specifications, sources, and suppliers. while processing the product mix or product development, we should know that from where the raw materials are coming, what the suppliers' dealings are with the producers and everything. Then standard operating procedures, quality control measure, that is what the production process holds in itself. The quality assurance managers, that is their duty that to assure that whether the product quality is up to mark or not. Then we have how to carry out the roles and professional knowledge. Stakeholders, managers, and supervisors require knowledge for the effective leadership. Obviously, when you are going to have it, you are already having the information, but you are not having enough knowledge about it. Then definitely it can cause problems. So it is very necessary to first consult with the senior managers, and then we can proceed further. Employees, they need clear guidance on job responsibilities and expectations. That is their job specification, what actually their job holds in it. HR professionals need to understand skill requirements for the recruitment. That is, the HR department is responsible for recruiting the new staff. So they should know that what quality they are acquiring from the people which they have to inculcate in the organization. Examples, role description, clear expectations and responsibilities for each position, professional knowledge, industry best practices, regulatory compliance as well. Then we have stakeholders itself again. In this, we have shareholders, directors, and operators now. Interested in the overall success and growth of the company, shareholders, why? Because they have purchased the shares from our organization. Board members need a strategic overview and governance information in the sense of stakeholders. Why? Because when they are know that what actually strategically is happening inside the organization, then they can convince more investors to invest in the organization as well. Operatives may be interested in the organization's stability in the future prospects. Example, strategic plans and governance information, that is long-term goals and plans for the growth. For example, you are at the moment a national working on a national level as an organization and you want to be international. So the rules and regulations and investment is going to be vast more. And broad structured decision-making process, that is what the governance information includes in it. This is their conclusion. Meeting the information and knowledge needs of various stakeholders is essential for organizational effectiveness and stakeholder satisfaction. Organizations need to establish a robust system for collecting, analyzing, and disseminating the relevant information to ensure that stakeholders at all levels have the knowledge required for informed decision making and effective performance as well. This helps with transparency, trust, and alignment with the organizational goals. And this is the main purpose, even, of the information and knowledge with relation to the stakeholders. When the stakeholders have enough information and knowledge about each and every aspect, what is happening in the organization, outside of the organization, what our rivals, competitors are doing, then the decision taking and making is like it gets way too easier. Then we have assessment criteria 1.2. Explain the system used for communicating key information and knowledge to stakeholders. Now, the command verb is explain. This means you have to tell each and everything in way to detail. Prior that, first the introduction body, then main body text, and in the end conclusion matters. Here we have to tell that how the communication or the communicating key information can be acquired to the stakeholders. There are certain points through which we will go by. Organization use various communication systems to disseminate the key information knowledge to the stakeholders. Each system serves a specific purpose and is chosen based on the nature of the information, the target audience, and the context. Definitely, when we are going to communicate things, we have to inform somebody about something. We have to see that where we are talking, from whom we are going to talk, and what the conversation is going about. Here is an explanation of some examples or communication systems. Here we go. Again, each and every point which we are discussing at the moment, it is already present in the indicative content. Meetings, briefings, whole staff, departmental, individual. Now, description is in-person or virtual gathering to discuss and share information. For example, before Corona, nobody knows that other than Google Meet, we do have Microsoft Teams and Zoom apps as well. But after the COVID, it came into being and we people are easily communicating and surpassing our knowledge information from one country to another country. Examples, whole staff meeting, quarterly meetings to communicate company-wide updates. It's not easy that we hold the annual general meeting after every 4 months because it is held annually. So what we can do is we can keep the board of the committee, board directors, and shareholders, investors in like as a meeting after 4 months, and we can conclude what the financial health of the business is. Then individual meeting, one-on-one session to discuss specific roles and responsibilities. That is what the it's most common nowadays. Then we have presentations. Visual and verbal communication using slides or multimedia, that is what we are doing at the moment. Quarterly financial presentations, product launch presentations, and training presentation. Now, these are the kind of presentations which the people can use. For example, if we discuss the training presentation, it means conducting the training sessions on the new procedures. For example, the employees are old, but the procedures and the tools and techniques which we're going to proceed in the new project is they are new. They're not known to the people which are already working in the organization. Then definitely we can use presentations for them to make them skill enough. Email, electronic messaging for the quick and formal communication. For example, it is used for the project updates, announcements, individual communication as well. Then we have newsletters, periodic publications containing organizational updates and highlights. That is what the purpose of a newsletter itself is. Now there are monthly company newsletter, departmental newsletter departments, and we have departmental newsletter, and we have employee recognition newsletter. If we talk about the departmental newsletter, it means highlighting the recent projects and success in a specific department. For example, in a period which from 6 months to 8 months, the XYZ project was quite successful, and we can publish that in the newsletter. It is just like a school magazine, even. We perform yearly, and whatever the achievements and outcomes we received as a school from the students, we published that in the specific journal in that book. And I remember when I was studying in Bahria College, Agate Naval Complex, after every 5 years, they used to publish Shalimar. That magazine used to be called Shalimar, and we used to have each and every picture, each and every achievement of every student in it. And it was the best, like literally the best investment I did on that specific journals. I do have that still now. Like I'm 25 now, and it's just a beautiful memory. It's a kind of a newsletter as well. Okay, interviews and appraisals, one-on-one sessions to assess performance, discussion goals, and provide the feedback. Examples to include the annual performance appraisal and job interview. Why the description of the interview holds the job interview? When we are going to hold the interviews, already the people they want the interviewees, they know that what the questions are going to be asked, as in all the things which are mentioned in the job specification. We do research according to it, and whatever you have added in your resume, you can first reread it again and again and know that what have actually people have written in it. Like simply, when we even apply for the visas, for example, if I discuss here about the American visa, B2B visa, the business visa, we do apply for the DS 160 paper. All the recommendations are in there. And when the interviewee is actually asking questions from you, he is not watching the documents, the other one. They have already opened the DS 160 of that particular person who is having the interview with that interviewee, and they only ask that whatever, if you have a, for example, if you have a past travel history, so they are going to ask you that, for example, I traveled last year to Austria as well. So at what date you traveled to Austria? This is a very actually a real example. So I traveled on 22 September 2022. So if the answers is correct, they know that this person is authentic, they are not lying, and then they literally just in 5 minutes give you the blue paper and you receive your ticket and the passports in 1 week. So this is how things goes on. Training sessions, formal sessions to the impart knowledge or skills. Now, it is not necessary that each and every employee is absolutely skilled from time being. They need further polishment, you can say, further skill measurement on it. Only then they can pursue in this AI or tech industry, basically the AI world. The new employees, like I remember when the COVID pandemic came, my teachers, they were not aware of using the Microsoft Teams app perfectly. And the subject was called accounting and finance system, and it was way too tough for us as well because each and everything is way too calculus. So my teacher used to like open the camera, put a board on the backside, a whiteboard marker one, and then they used to solve questions, and we used to tell them how to share the screen, how they can take a picture, and then these things goes on. And they were the graduates from 1980s. So that is why it was way too new for them to switch from personal education to directly giving lectures online. Letters. Formal written communication often used for the official correspondence. This is the best way. It is appreciable even from the students that they should write a letter, an apology, a kind, or whatever the question they have to ask. It should be in a formal letter. Then the teacher gets way too happy, or the management head gets happy, and they just accept each and everything way too smooth. In the end, effective communication systems are essential for ensuring the stakeholders receive key information and knowledge in a timely and accurate manner. The choice of communication method depends on the nature of the content and the preferences of the target audience. A well balanced communication strategy combines various systems to reach a diverse range of stakeholders and enhance overall organizational transparency and engagement. So, this is the main crux of the whole scenario, which we discussed in Assessment Criteria 1.2. Now, reaching towards the Assessment Criteria 1.3, which is the last one. Analyze the potential barriers to effective workplace communication. Now you can see that why I didn't discuss in detail the learning outcome one, because the assessment criteria 1.3 is most probably the same thing, just like the LO one. Here, the command verb says we have to discuss about the potential positive and negative drawbacks. Then we have to tell about the importance, and in the end, we're going to tell the conclusion and the judgments. And the question says potential barriers, the drawbacks or the hurdles which are in the effective workplace communication which we face in it. The first point is verbal communication. What are the barriers? Tone. The tone used in verbal communication can lead to misinterpretation if it is not appropriate. For example, get out of my class. Is this an appropriate way? This is not absolutely not an appropriate way. What we can to those students who are not punctual enough, I can say that please don't come from the next time in my class. That is how we can go ahead. Clarity, lack of clarity, or the precision of the message can result in confusion. So that is it is always advisable to at least write a proper known message because it gets confusion in the end sector. Active listening and focusing, failure to actively listen or distractions can impede understanding. That is way too great. For example, an employee perceives a manager's tone as hostile during a discussion, leading to misunderstandings. Lack of focus during a team meeting result in misinterpretation of crucial project details as well. If you are not active listener, then what happen is we end up doing mistakes. And they are the blunderous mistakes. Clarity of written message, barriers, readability. Poorly formatted or unclear text can hinder the message comprehension. Like it is always regarded to use. It is always discouraged to use the acronyms which we use. Like at the moment, the people use like to write down ATM between BTW. That's not appropriate. Then language. Use of jargon or overly complex language can may focus the recipient as well. That is difficult language. Try to communicate in way to easier language, which is easy for the people or the audience to understand. Tone. The tone in written messages, including emails, can be misinterpreted as well. Examples. A poorly written email causes confusion about the project deadlines. Complex technical documentation is challenging for the non-experts to understand as well. Then we have technology. The barriers are poor connections and inappropriate use. Just like us, we are having the problem. In Pakistan, we are having or facing load shedding frequently. What happened is people which they don't have mobile data or they don't have enough balance. What happened is they end up not attending the class and the important lecture goes on. If the teacher by mistakenly deletes the recording or she was not enough liable to record the lecture on time. So these are the certain examples of the technology as a barrier as well. Interpersonal relationship. Personal conflict. Ongoing personal conflicts can create tension and hinder the open communication. Example, team members who have unresolved conflicts may avoid direct communication affecting collaboration, and that is way too nice. They always want to work in the teamwork, but not one to one. Imagine on the subordinate with a strained relationship may struggle to communicate effectively, and that is way too true. That is why it is. I am kind of against working in a corporate sector because if we have some argument with the managers or our seniors, what will happen in the end? They are going to create a situation, a mess out of you, and in the end, you are going to be disseminated from the organization, and that is way too unacceptable for me as a person. Very honest. Nonverbal communication, body language, inconsistent or misinterpreted body language can convey unintended messages. Like the first time when I gave presentation was in my second semester. It was the subject was, I remember, it was called oral communication, and it was quite interesting presentation for me because I literally learned each and everything, and I dedicated it in front of the whole auditorium. And what happened is my teacher in the end just told me separately, not in front of others, that we don't have to wear heels in the presentation. While we are delivering a formal presentation, we don't have to wear the heels or stilettos. It's better to use flats. It is more appropriate presentation wise. And we have to use more hand gestures. It is really nice. Until now, even I'm teaching you online and the cameras are not on, my habit is still that I am holding a pen in my hand and I'm just moving a hand gestures. So it's a habit which is built through the teachers. Examples: rolling eyes during a meeting may be interpreted as a disapproval affecting team dynamics. It is appropriate that we should not look at one person in the meetings, like in doing the presentations live. We should just move our eyes all over the hall. And the best way, the trick which my teacher told me, that always try to look on the heads. Don't look on the eyes, look at the heads. In this way, you won't lose your confidence even, and you can speak like you are the only one who knows each and everything. And in the end, we have equality and diversity prejudgments assumptions. The barriers are stereotypes and preconceived notions can lead to biased interpretations. Assumptions could be making assumptions about others' perspectives without seeking clarification. That is what actually our Ummah is even doing at the moment. Examples assume that a team member from different cultural backgrounds shares the same perspectives and values. Stereotyping based on age or gender affecting how feedback is given or received as well. Then the general barriers which we can discuss at the moment, they are active listening workshops, training sessions to enhance active listening skills, then clear communication policies, establishing guidelines for the written communication to ensure clarity, technology training, providing training on effective and secure use of communication tools, like even you before using the Google Meets, it I find it way too difficult, the Google Meets. I don't know why, because it's quite technical, I think, or I'm more used to Zooms or Microsoft Teams in the COVID time. So my teacher used to give me, like my mentor used to give me training sessions how to use Google Meet when I was doing my thesis. Conflict resolution programs, implementing programs to address and resolve interpersonal conflicts and diversity and inclusion training. It includes education employees in cultural sensitivity and breaking the stereotypes. Anybody can work in the organization, disregarding what your physical health is, how you look like, what your appearance is, from which background you are, whether you're a Christian, atheist, Muslim, Indian, whosoever you are. But you have to respect a people as a person, that he's a human. And in the end, understanding and addressing these barriers are crucial for fostering effective workplace communication. Organizations should invest in training programs, clear communication policies, and a culture that values open dialogue to overcome these challenges. So these were the certain barriers which are actually occurring in the workplace while we communicate with the people and the employees. These are references, and that's it. We are done with learning outcome one for activity one, and inshallah, in the next class, I think that's in taking it, and we will be doing LO2 as well.